what is going on in your mind when you are thinking of this incredible, my jaw dropped. When you told me this new startup, the swimming pools, my jaw dropped to the floor. I was like, what is going on in your mind? What's the step behind that allows you to come up with the thinking to get to that stage where you come up with that idea? Because it's just phenomenal. My jaw dropped.
You mean because nobody else had done it? There was no way to distribute it?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, exactly.
You know, I find that the ideation process it's more of an art than a science. But I do think that, we all can sit here and come up with ideas, right? You can brainstorm ideas, and sometimes you just stumble across ideas. Sometimes it's a combination of things where you experience something. Like in my case, my son was growing up as a toddler with his mom, and there was a pool there, and I thought, oh my gosh, like that pool, you can think of it like a fire pit. That's a real risk, and so it made me very aware of the real something that needs to be solved, because I realize as a parent, it's hard. You can build fences and try to keep an eye on them all the time, but you don't know if you can have a foolproof solution. So that was inspiration. But there were also aspects where I thought, I believe as an entrepreneur, sometimes when you conquer a problem that's really hard, you're giving yourself an advantage because many other entrepreneurs or even large companies are not going to do a very good job of that. And you have the advantage of doing it as well as you possibly can. And I kind of thought, part of solving this problem is that you're working with the infrastructure of an existing pool. There's a pool in the ground with concrete all around it and pool equipment off to the side. How are you going to work within that environment and introduce this new thing that needs consistent power and so on, and how are you going to implement it and create a user experience that doesn't involve jackhammering concrete all around the pool and spending $100,000 to install something. So I liked those challenges, the hardware aspects of this idea. So I guess in a nutshell, what I would say is that as you kind of navigate through different ideas, I think what I like to do is to think about these kind of certain aspects of it. So what's doable, what hasn't been done, and what can I do much better? What could use brand new approaches and my unique thinking? I often think that the secret weapon that we all have as business people is judgment, right? Because we all have resumes and experience and contacts and things like that, but those are kind of controlled and measured by other people. But your own judgment, you have 100% control of that. That's just all you. And your judgment is that secret thing that ultimately leads to that success outcome years later, and people later go, oh, wow, he was right. He had this non-consensus insight that we just didn't see. And if you look at so many successful startups, whether it's Airbnb or Google or Skype or anything, there's a non-consensus insight they had. It was ultimately their very good judgment and knowing what the right thing to do is. So as you go through that ideation process, it's applying your judgment to think about what are the good ideas, what are the ones that really have legs, and almost like playing out in your mind, whether this is going to be, that has the potential to be a successful business. And that applied for this drowning thing. I felt like this is something that needs to exist, it needs to be affordable, it needs to be something that people can put in existing pools and people can feel safe, and we need to be able to save lives, even if a parent is just, their attention is distracted and they're running to get lemonade for a few minutes. We need to be able to save lives in those situations.